Hello and welcome, my friends and viewers, to this week's episode of Legendlore, where I draw cool pictures of monsters, races, characters, and classes from D&D 5th edition, while giving a small bit of quickly digestible history about them. Together we'll go over their origins within the game, how they're utilized in the modern climate, and how I personally like to utilize them in my own games. This video will be looking over what is, in my opinion, one of the most underused monsters in the entire monster manual, the Crawling Claw. The Crawling Claw is, at its core, a reanimated undead hand reminiscent of Thing from the Addams Family, brought to life by necromantic means and infused with whatever intent the caster had instilled upon its reanimation. This opens up a wide variety of different uses, such as a pair of extra working hands to aid dark wizards in their research, sentries and spies who can go unnoticed due to their tiny size, or just some kind of pseudo-pet that the necromancer made to keep from feeling lonely. The first appearance of the Crawling Claw was in 1st edition D&D in issue 32 of Dragon magazine, and it was created by Ed Greenwood. It has since then appeared in every edition of D&D following the first, with minimal changes to its design, origins, and its abilities. Though its appearance may change wildly depending on the creature or the damage its victim suffered upon reanimation, all Crawling Claws have a minimal intelligence that is only really capable of interpreting its own master's will, scuttling about on its spindly fingers like a flesh and bone spider. Whenever I have Crawling Claws appear in my games, I never use them for upfront combat with the party. I view them strictly as spies or scouts, although there is the occasional need to have a bunch of them swarm the party in a tide of angry grabby hands. In relation to that, I've included a Crawling Claw swarm stat block in the description. Another way that I love to use them is if the party is battling, say, a necromancer, and are particularly getting on his nerves, I have a Crawling Claw sneak into one of their bags and act as a beacon for the villain to scry upon. Eventually the party will find out, but that doesn't mean that the bad guy can't get some very useful information and learn about their plans beforehand. The second good use that I found for them is to use them as a companion to a thief who's a little tad versed in necromancy. This way, the thief never has to physically go inside of the vault or palace or place that they're robbing, as the claw can pretty much do all the work for him. It's much harder to spot a tiny hand skulking in the shadows than a whole person, after all. And then when it comes down to actually using them in combat, I like the Crawling Claws to, instead of dealing just straight damage, rather have them impose some kind of disorientation or disadvantage on the party. Like, say a bunch of them start swarming and grabbing a player at the legs and thusly it halves their speed, or one of them manages to get up to their hand, using its own weight, manages to throw off the player's swing, imposing disadvantage on an attack. This has them impose less of a direct, damaging threat, more of a battlefield impediment, in which they must take care of the Crawling Claws before they can effectively damage what other monsters may be out there. And I suppose if you have, say, about 100 hands swarming one person, then you might be able to start immobilizing them, robbing them of their spellcasting focuses, and just being a general nuisance. Ultimately, the Crawling Claw is a creature that I will always find very fascinating, but sometimes a little difficult to place within my game, mainly due to its weaker stats and narrow casting. But like any monster in D&D, a little creativity and finesse can help them go a very long way, and you can terrorize your players in ways that they can never see coming. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and if you want to catch the next Legendlore, please subscribe, press the little bell icon in the corner, and follow us on all social media for progress on each piece as it's being made. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll all see you next time.